Hello, my name is Jeffrey Davis, and I'm the founder of Ascend, where we turn ChatGPT into your consulting co-pilot. Today, I'm going to walk you through my process for creating a proposal inside of the Ascend AI tool. So, first off, there are 4 things that we do within Ascend that really specialize for consultants. We help you generate proposals, strategy decks, market reports, and we help them review your work so you can really have 5-star quality, and we help review AI quality work to make sure it's up to standard. So let's dive into generating proposals. So once I'm in generate proposal slides, one of the most important things you're going to see on every single one of our applications is that we've got this required inputs. So when we got these required inputs, the biggest thing on here is you're just going to need to look and see what are the things that I need to give to AI in order for it to deliver me the best possible result. Now, you're not always going to have everything, and that's absolutely okay, but try to provide as much information as you can so that it has all the context you need to be able to deliver the high quality output that you're looking for. So this is asking me to essentially have recommendations, business outcomes, audience, so essentially all my proposal stuff prepared. Now, today I don't have all those things prepared. All I have is the brief from the client that I need to essentially respond to. So what I'm going to go through is the process of how I would generate that full proposal from beginning to end just using Ascend AI. So let's dive right in. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the content that I do have. So I've got a base amount of information around Nothing, which essentially is the company that builds the Nothing phone and also headphones for those that may be using it. And I'm just going to grab all of that content, right? So I'm going to grab the base amount of content on there that's going to give me all the basic information about the company. Now, that's not enough for me to build a proposal because that's only what the client has given me. So what I'm going to do is essentially generate that into a client brief so that it's restructured into a way that I can better understand, my team can better understand, and then also the AI that I'm going to be working with is going to be able to better understand. So for those that may not have gone through the other videos, just so you understand, everything on the left-hand side in this window here is what we call the context window. So this is where all the source material goes, and if you have additional context that you need to add, you can add it to this bottom window. Similar to you chatting to ChatGPT, but it won't change the structure and the format of the outputs, just so you're aware. So now on my right-hand side, I've got a full client brief that I've now gotten from Nothing that I can start to structure into project scope, what is in and out of scope, honestly always important and sometimes forgotten. What are the key questions I need to go back to the client with? And then what's the definition of success for that project? So at that point, I can say, I think I'm pretty happy with the client brief I've got. Now, I'm going to take all that information that was kind of there and I'm going to replace it with my client brief. So now I've updated my context window. Now that my context window is updated, I'm still not ready to dive into the proposal yet because I need to put together a project plan. Now, normally you would go through this process with your team to fill things out and already add additional context in there. But because this is a demo, we're going to go ahead and skip that just for now. But what I'm going to now take is from my client brief, it's going to understand, okay, what were all the things that I need? What was the business context? What did I actually put for in and out of scope? And then what were the deliverables that I had? And then to the best of its ability, it's going to go through and then output me a project plan that it thinks is going to be able to deliver. Now, what's most important is that it's now taken all of that client context and then broken that down into phases that I'm now going to be to go back to my client, put into a presentation deck, and get feedback on as a first draft, right? To make sure, do these timelines work or anything like that. Now, I can edit any of these things inside of here, or I can just copy it out and then paste it directly into a Word document, right? So I've got essentially my nice project plan that's well structured with a couple risk mitigations, follow-up considerations that I need to look into, and I'm going to go ahead and copy that as well. Now, instead of replacing what I had before, I'm actually going to add this as part of the context window. So now I've got my project plan in there as well as my client brief. So now my context has grown quite substantially. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to think about, okay, what are the legal stuff that I need to consider in order to input this? And you can see here, there's a couple inputs that it's asked me before, which we've just created, which is the client brief, the project plan. I don't currently have stakeholders because this is a sample, but we'll run it and then it'll essentially do it as an empty. Okay, so what's going to happen now while that's loading is I'm going to get my full statement of work. This is obviously going to be a draft statement of work that I put together, but it'll have enough content in there for me to be able to either pass off to my legal team or to pass off to anyone else, and then have them essentially draft the rest of it to be like, look, this is the scope, these are the considerations, these are things we need to think about, and then I can move that forward to have it in my official template after that. All right, perfect. So now I've got my statement of work, right? Between nothing technology companies and then obviously empty for me, because those still need to be added. But we've got a bunch of stuff that's now sorted in here and then well organized. So I've got my executive summary, I got my background, I have my scope and deliverables, I got my timeline again, I have my fee structure. Again, I would have added that additional information as context. And then I've got a couple clauses that I can work through just as basics for me to kind of start and say, look, this is the beginning of the SOW. And again, I can copy out of there. Now, most importantly, you can see that this is the missing information. So this is the context I did not add. So if you add that context, it'll then pre-fill the rest of the template so you have everything you need. So for right now, what I'm going to do now is now I'm ready to actually generate my proposal slides. I've got all this context. I got my SOW of everything that's needed. So I'm now going to add in my last bit of context, which is my SOW. This is just extra information. You don't actually need to have it. It's just from here. And now I'm going to hit generate. So now it's going to take my brief, my project plan, and my statement of work, and then it's going to essentially deliver me. If you ever see a blank window like this, it just means that it's scrolled to the bottom because it was a long thing before, and the loading screen's just at the top. So don't be afraid that something's broken. You can just wait for it to generate, and then it'll fix itself. All right, now I have my proposal slides. So it's essentially giving me what the working title, the purpose, and the audience that I'm dealing with. It's giving me a little bit of a storyboard to let me know what's about to be in here. And now it's going to walk me through slide by slide the entire proposal presentation that it's put together for me. And what's most important as we're looking through here is the structure in terms of having all the right slides and content for us to be able to move forward and then deliver impact to the client to say, look, this is what we're moving forward with. If you wanted to add some extra spice or detail to really figure out if this is as good as it should be, feel free to run it through the 5-step quality review as well. Thank you very much. And I can't wait to help you turn ChatGPT into your consulting co-pilot. If you haven't already, start the trial or continue to watch some more videos to see the rest of the use cases that we have that will work for you. See you later.